Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Joni Ogg, and on behalf of travelprofessionalnews.com, homebasedtravelagent.com, and findahosttravelagency.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar and thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us here. Our host today is Travel Planners International. Now, known as a straightforward and energetic force in the travel industry, our speaker today is one of our dearest friends, Jen Lee, Travel Planner International's Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Now, Jen is not a shy lady, and she's not shy about her obsession with guiding travel advisors desiring to build their empires, no matter the size. So, with a focus on motivating others to liberate their businesses and to depart from what they know to be true and real, Jen's advice is always so spot on and relevant. So when she's not working, which I don't know that when that is, because it seems like she's working all the time, you're going to find her cheering on the Bama football and playing with her grandchild, Eliza, and enjoying life with friends. And of course, a very important thing, a nice glass of Pinot Grigio. So today's webinar topic is going to really be cool because I need to figure this thing out. It's cut the social media cord and still grow your database. Two very lucky attendees are going to win 30-minute consultations with Jen. So be sure to listen really carefully for your chance to win. We'll be having those questions at the end of the presentation. So just remember that you're all muted, but I welcome your questions. Both Jen and I do. And you can type them in at any time in the question area that you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. We do try to take some during Jen's presentation because she asks me to keep an eye on that, but also we'll take some more at the end if need be. So we're going to turn the microphone over to my friend so she can get started. Welcome, Jen.
Oh, thank you, Joni. Hey, everybody. And Joni, I always love the way you introduce me. It's so kind. And yes, I'm obsessed, but I do have to make fun of you for a second. It's not Bama football, it's
Well,
Bama,
well, I'm
Alabama,
not
roll
from
tide.
there.
I,
Okay.
that's okay. So I pointed that out to you. Do you want to point out
Yes,
to
I'd like to
me?
chat with you about something. Ladies and gentlemen on the webinar, travel professionals with degrees in, I know, library science and phonetics and everything else. Are you noticing anything odd about that title slide? Anybody have anything to say about that title slide that cut the social media cord? Any comments? I
Well,
mean, no one's saying anything. They're being nice to you, Jen.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I fixed it for the presentation because I was mortified. But I had originally sent it over as cut the social media cord, CHORD. And it went through like 6 people, and including Joni, like
Including
she
me.
said, and none of us caught it. And we're like, because it's a real word. So I said, well, we could always play off of it and just say that I was going to sing all of my tips, like cut the social media cord, CHORD. Anyways, so I don't know if they're making fun of us or not,
Okay,
Joni,
someone did notice it before, so there you go. Okay, thank you.
yeah, so yeah.
Sandy Elson. Oh, Sandy, I knew you
Of
would.
course, Sandy noticed. We need Sandy. Hi,
I
babe.
miss
How
her.
are
Hi,
you?
Sandy. All right, I'll let you get started.
No problem. So, guys, welcome, rock stars. If you're listening to us live, I really, really want you to put in some questions. I'm going to share with you 5 different categories of things that you can do to cut the social media cord and still build your database. But within those 5, there's like 5 or 6 tips per. So have your pens and pencils ready because I'm going to give you lots of ideas, lots of things. One of the things that Joni said during the introduction, and it is something that we have really been talking about a lot here at TPI, which is now that we've gotten through and on the other side of that thing that happened in 2020, I'm not even giving it a name any longer. I'm not giving it any energy whatsoever. Is we started to see that a lot of travel advisors and agency owners started to question what they knew to be true and real. Do I need to take this type of client? Do I need to start charging fees? Should I be joining a host agency to make sure that I'm capitalizing on top tier commissions and everything that happens? What are some of the things that I've always known to be true and real? And are they no longer true and real in today's world, including travel partners? And I believe, Joni, we did a webinar on this as
We
well, some
did.
of the things that you could take a look at. Well, one of the things that I said to myself not too long ago, I said, you know what? Everyone walks around saying, you've got to be on social media. You've got to be on social media. And Joni, I got to tell you, I'm over it with social media. I'm not looking for my next car wash place or my next carpenter on social media any longer. I'm looking other places. And if advisors, and again, guys, I'd love for you to type in your comments as we're going through this, but as advisors have become more and more exposed for the positiveness that they add to folks' lives, just their general lives, not just their vacations, but as people are starting to see it, they're starting to actually ask for personal referrals, right? And so it's not necessarily them Googling somebody in Facebook or Instagram or on LinkedIn. They're looking for something a little deeper to gain a new contact for what will be the most important week to 2 weeks of someone's life in that one particular year, especially the year that people are going to start traveling again. But are you kind of over it too, Joni? Are
Oh,
you over
I
social?
am over it. In fact, I don't know if you want to call it social media, which I guess it is, but I don't think it is. But
Hmm.
that app or Nextdoor.
Yeah.
We recently moved to Arizona. Well, now it's been almost 6 months. It's crazy. It doesn't seem
Hmm.
like it. But we have had all kinds of things have gone wrong with the house that we've had to fix, and
Hmm.
so I don't know where to find people, right? Because I've never lived here. I don't have anybody that I used before, so I've been using referrals from neighbors in our specific area where I live on
Hmm.
Nextdoor, and it's worked out really well. But it is true. I don't just Google it. That's for sure.
Hmm. Mm-mm. No, and people are still going to do it. So some of the things I'm going to talk about, and guys, write that down. Next door, can you be a travel Is that something that you can what's the word I'm looking for? Advertise on, right? I'm looking in my neighborhood for a travel advisor. I
Everybody
mean,
does
think
it.
about
Not
that.
I don't know about
Everybody
travel,
does
but
it.
everybody does it for other stuff. I don't see any reason why not
Well,
to try.
why not, right? All right, so let's dive in. So the very first thing that I think is the highest and best use of your time, quite frankly, if you're comfortable with it, is becoming a media maven. And right now, many of our travel advisors at TPI are on their local TV news stations constantly. And they're on there because they learned how to pitch your local TV station. The beautiful thing about you doing this, and I'm going to give you resources at the end. If you've never listened to me before, I always have tons of resources. I have a whole resource page for everybody. But become a media maven. Pitch your local TV station. And all you have to do, I have a step-by-step program that walks you through how to do it. And we actually have a webinar on it as well. But it's really finding whoever the executive producer is, or even one of the field reporters that you see on your local TV station. Reach out to them. You can reach out to them via social media. Reach out to them and talk to them about you being a travel advisor or an agency owner in your area. That will help expose you to new people, and then always have strong call to action. Pitch your local newspaper. They're always looking for local experts. Be a podcast guest. This is something that a lot of people are getting more comfortable with talking via, if it's not via video, but talking via their headphones, right? Like we used to do it through this thing called a telephone, but you can actually do a podcast now. And so if I were a travel advisor, I would be Googling different types of podcasts that have the type of client that I am looking for. What is a podcast that your type of client is looking for, is probably listening to? Many people have jumped off social media and are going into the podcast world to listen. And so pitch yourself as a guest on a podcast, because as podcast producer that I used to be many years ago, it gets tiring coming up with new ideas and things to talk about. So all you have to do is send them a quick email. You can pitch yourself to the industry news media as well. Now, how's that build your database? Well, I'm going to tell you how you start leveraging some of these hits in other areas that will help you build your database. Join ASTA. You want to get some new leads, guys? Join ASTA. They have a media page just for ASTA members, and on it is where Erica Richter is constantly posting, hey, NBC News is looking for a travel advisor who has experienced this. Well, I mean, come on, let's get on some national news. New York Times is looking to feature somebody who has experienced this or help somebody. But if you don't join ASTA, you won't be able to get that type of national exposure, at least through ASTA. And then a new resource for many of y'all is going to be this resource. It's called Help a Reporter. And Help a Reporter is an online tool that I used to use for years and years and years, where journalists post out there, hey, I'm looking for someone who has twins that are 12 to 14 years old, that the twins have two completely different versions of what they want to do on vacation. It will be that specific. They'll say, I'm looking for a travel advisor who's helped somebody plan a vaccination, right? This is before the vaccines were more readily available. I'm looking for a travel advisor who's done this. So this could be Good Housekeeping. It could be any of these national media outlets. It could be a local TV station, a local newspaper. It's free of charge to sign up for it. It's called Help a Reporter. And in my pitch, the media, I do talk a little bit about this. All right, so I want to stop that from there. Becoming a media maven will help you build your database, because those hits not only will attract people, as long as you have a strong call to action. Make sure you say, you know, this is, you know, Jen with Travel Planners International, a travel agency that supports 4,000 travel agencies. Like, you have to have like this one little snippet for yourself. All right. Do we have any questions? Because if I press my button, you know what's going to happen?
No,
It's
I
going to,
know, no questions, but I want to just toss in something on the newspaper one. So that
mm-hmm,
used to be really a cool thing, and we used to do that all the time when we had our agency. And
mm-hmm,
I'm just thinking, you know, of this last year, which, as you mentioned, we aren't going to talk about, but I'm
mm-hmm.
just thinking that because nobody saw any people, because you couldn't leave your house and you were, you know,
Mm-hmm.
on lockdown, it would be, to me, a perfect time now, when we're a little out after we've been vaccinated and we're out and about, to be able to actually make physical call on a local newspaper, so
Sure.
they can put a face to their local travel agent and, you know, kind of get a relationship going. I mean, because we haven't seen people for so long. I just think it might be an interesting revisiting
I think
something like that.
you're spot on. I agree with you. You're absolutely spot on. And you know, something you also said, Joni, one of the things that I really hammer in most of my messaging and when I'm talking to our advisors is, you are advisors. But honestly, if you are your own agency, and even if you're just a party of one, you should be introducing yourself as an agency owner. You should say, I own a travel agency. There's something that changes in the mindset of the person that's listening to you, from saying you are a travel advisor to I own a travel agency. So if you are an, you know, legally classified as an independent contractor and you've set up your own business, it is I own a travel agency that focuses on whatever that is.
Couldn't agree with
I own
that
a
more.
local, yeah,
Couldn't
I
agree
own a
more.
boutique agency. Yeah, I own a boutique agency. I own it. I'm the local agency, you know, here in Howie in the Hills, Florida, right? I am your Howie in the Hills travel agency. Howie in the Hills is the little town that I live in. Now I've practically given out my address at this point, because there's only 900 of us in Howie in the Hills. Okay, so please put in any questions, because I'm going to move on. So Media Maven, pitch your local TV station, pitch your local newspaper, become a podcast guest. And guys, this is the one that I think you really have a big opportunity with. And again, this is not a Googling travel podcast, because that's just other travel advisors and agency owners. This is you Googling a podcast that's going to speak to the client that you are looking for. Join ASTA and then also sign up for Help a Reporter. Any questions, Joni, yet?
No, there was one from Sandy, but I don't know if it was a joke or if it's a question. She says, including Howie, question mark.
Ah, including Howie. Oh, Howie does live in Howie. No, I don't think there is a
Okay.
Howie,
All right.
actually.
All right. So anyway, no, I do have one now. Okay. Okay. She just checked it. There's 900 people, including Howie.
Oh, I
All
love
right.
it.
She's just messing with
I,
us. All right.
Yeah, okay, way to go, Sandy. Okay, so now we're moving on. Creating content, all right? So creating content, there's a variety of different ways. First off, content in today's world, video is king. Get used to it, get comfortable with it if you want to try to tackle this. Videos, again, most people think you can only use videos or that most people use videos on social media. And while that is very true, videos can now be embedded into your individual emails. There's a program, and actually I forgot to put this in my resources, but there's a company out there that allows you to send a video actually just out of your Outlook, right? So like it says, here's a video for so-and-so, and it's instead of typing out a message, it's video. And what I love about video, from an email message is you're able to say, hey, and you're able to connect emotionally with them, right? Because they're looking in your eyes. You're able to show your personality. You don't have to type a bunch of stuff to kind of highlight your personality and what you're trying to get across. And so you'll see why email is really important as well. But video is king, guys. Number two, I fully believe that email marketing needs to evolve, guys. Right now, too many advisors and agency owners are just blasting emails out to everybody. If you want to build your database, one of the ways to do this is through email marketing and having a strong call to action for them to pass it on to somebody else. But it has to be targeted, because if you are sending river cruise promotions or announcing stuff about a river cruise to everybody in your database, and the half of them don't have any interest in a river cruise, they're going to start deleting your emails, right? And they're going to see no reason to forward that email to somebody else, which is how you get people to sign up for your emails, hence building your database. Your email needs to be super hyper targeted. Hey, John, it's got to actually be, customized. Hey, John, super short video, ideally. I know you're interested in river cruises, and I'm actually putting together a group to go to Europe in 2022. Would love to have an opportunity to chat with you about that. Details are in the email. And hey, feel free to pass this on to your neighbors so that they can also start getting information about this great river cruise that I am putting together. Make sense?
Totally.
All right. Targeted email, guys. Use your CRM. Many host agencies out there have discounts or whatever to a customer relationship management tool. Here at TPI, we actually just launched our own, and it's included in our fees. And that is one of the things that we're hearing lots of our advisors talk about, is they love that they can tag clients and they can target their email marketing and their messaging based on that. So that's really cool. Short and sweet wins the attention. If you want to build your database, you've got to create content that's shareable, that somebody has a desire to share. So we have got to stop the novels, the War and Peace novels with the 72 links out of our emails. Send short and sweet emails. And they don't have to be sweet. They can just be kind and informative. But short wins the attention. Website revamp. Now, this is going to be a resource that I'm giving you here at the end of the webinar, but a lot of people have not revamped their website and actually have hired any kind of an SEO optimization or even registered their business on Google My Business. So I'm a big fan of taking advantage of the free resources that Google provides you to highlight yourself online. Joni, have you ever typed in a question in Google and then the answer comes up? Like, I even typed in how to market your business without social media, and a box showed up and there was like 6 answers right there. It was like, here are the 6 things you need to be thinking about.
Yeah, almost every time you Google, yeah, right up at the very top, right?
Exactly. You can do that yourself. And you can do that and start thinking of, how do I book a river cruise? Now, you're going to have to be very specific, and most people type very specifically in Google. So revamp your website, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. At least have it optimized, at least for your local area. I think many agency owners go around thinking, I can sell anywhere. Well, heck yeah, you can sell anywhere, but why don't you start selling in your own darn neighborhood? Because guess what? When Joni moves to town and she's looking for a travel advisor, she needs to know who the local travel advisor is. So website revamp. And again, I'm giving you guys a ton of different options here. If you only choose 2 of them and really nail it, you're going to build your database.
So can I toss something in on the website revamp?
Sure.
So, well, next week, everybody, Jen and my son Andy are going to do a webinar together. So I just want to toss out there that if you haven't registered for that, it's next Tuesday. It's going to talk a lot about, Andy's going to talk a lot about the SEO. So I just want to throw that out there. It might be helpful. So you guys can, if you haven't already registered for that one, folks, it should be really interesting next Tuesday, May 11th.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, good. You also want your website, part of your website revamp is to make it as easy, because if you do all this work and attract people here, you want to make it as easy as 1, 2, 3 for them to understand how to do business with you and how to reach out to you. Another thing that used to drive me bonkers is I'll go to somebody's website and I can't find their phone number. Or I go to their website and it just says send me an email. I need to see all of that information. I also want to see, and if you guys start Googling some of the businesses you do business with and that you Googled it and you did business right away, it's 1, 2, 3. Here's what we do. Here's how you benefit from it. Here's how you get started. Fill out this form. Second step, number 2, we're going to connect with you and provide you with pricing. Number 3, in 7 steps after this, you're going to be up and running. They make it very easy to understand how to do business with you, because if you don't make it easy and clear, they're left just kind of clicking around on your website. You should have pop-ups that come on. So any website that you're creating, make sure you're able to do some pop-ups that says, hey, how are you liking this so far? Or a chat feature. And again, I'm going to provide you some resources. A chat feature that's on this, like, hey, I'm here. I'm happy to answer any questions. Talk to me about this. So again, if you're driving traffic to your website, let's make sure your website is capturing their information by capturing their attention, or physically capturing their information so that you can get with them. And then a super strong call to action. This is one of the things I see a lot. There's not a strong call to action on every single page, a strong call to action on every single email, a strong call to action. You should always be asking people to take the next step with you. If your call to action is, connect with me so that we can spend 10 minutes together and I can, identify your needs or share with you, information to help you, or, feel free to pass if your call to action is, if you're trying to like build your database and you really want to build your database, your call to action every single time should be, please feel free to forward this to a friend. You might say it every single time and they might read it 20 times and never do it, but there might be something. Remember back in the beginning of this targeted email, there might be something in there like, oh yeah, that's right, let me forward this. Make it easy for them to forward your targeted email, guys. Make sure you're clicking that button that says, forward to a friend here. There's a lot of times I get an email and I want to actually copy and paste the URL and they don't have the view online feature where the URL isn't there, so I can't promote it, right? I can't forward it to somebody. All right, so that's the content. Video, get used to it if you can. Make it short and sweet. Target your email marketing. And again, I'm not talking just mass email marketing. Get your CRM set up to where if you have something that's a river cruise or a family or your neighbor, that you're able to tag that contact so that you can send, even if it's just to 6 people, it will feel like it's only to them. And spend time on your website and SEO and stuff like that. Any questions? I know
I'm going to check again. I was just sending out the announcements to let everybody know that it is being recorded. Let me see. I have one. Oh, this is a comment. It's really nice. Christopher says that you had Jen on a podcast and you were terrific. So there you go. You're a great guest to have.
Oh, thank you.
There you go, folks. You got a guest right there. Can you? Someone else is asking if you wouldn't mind sending the email video resource in the follow-up. I'm assuming you have that maybe at the end of your presentations.
Yes,
Okay,
I
cool.
do. I do. I have at the end, and the great news is, guys, everyone who's listening, as well as everyone who registered, will receive an email from us, and from me, and I will include that in there for you.
There you go.
All right. I'm all about a resource.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we can ask this strong call to action. How are you enjoying this so far, guys? Please type in your answers. See how direct and clear that is?
You just remember, you just type them in the answered, the question area on the right-hand side of your screen, folks.
Okay, good. Now, I'm not done.
Oh, I've got some things. Hold on. Excellent. Awesome as always. Great info, great information, Jen. Great info. Great, awesome as usual. Great as usual. Hi, the above link does not work. It looks like it's missing. Oh, whatever. That was for me, I think, in my link. So ignore that.
Oh.
But everybody else loves you. So there you go.
Okay. Well, good. It's the content I want you to love. And I do need positive reinforcement. I have a very low ego. I'm very fragile over here. Okay, so guys, Fierce fan base. And many of you who have listened to me in the past, and it sounds like many of you have heard me say that I just got into the industry about 5 years ago. And prior to that, I had my own small business consulting firm. And so I worked with entrepreneurs just like you guys. I'm obsessed with y'all, have been for many, many years. And my number one tool, my number one tip that they gave them was that you only need 12. So a fierce fan base, if you create a fierce fan base, people who love you, know what you do, and are willing to talk to you, talk about you all the time, and know your name, have your phone number in their phone, willing to share that, you really only need 12 people that meet that criteria. And here's the reason why. Those 12 people, and it's kind of like, you know, the Germac commercial back in the day, and they'll tell two people, and they'll tell two people, and so on and so on. And so, am I dating myself? Apparently I am. But you only need 12. So one of the things to build your database, if I were you listening to this and I wanted to get off of social media, I would call my 12 people. It could be your previous clients. It could be your aunt who's smart, like who gets it. I didn't mean that like you don't have aunts that aren't smart, but you know what I mean? Like find 12 people, pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, listen, I'm going to rely on you to help me build my business. If at any time somebody says they're interested or they're ready to get out of town or they're ready, would you mind referring them to me? What happens when you actually ask somebody and you invite them into your world is that they will go out of their way. They will surprise you. They will go out of their way to promote you, okay? And they also, the more specific you are with that ask, like if you hear someone say, if you say to them, hey, listen, if you hear anyone say something like, I am sick of these kids, I have got to get out for a week, my husband and I haven't done anything. If you hear them say that, please tell them to call me. The more specific you are, the more they'll think of somebody. You know what? My next door neighbor was just telling me that 2 weeks ago. You know, we were sitting outside drinking gin and tonics together, and she was just complaining about the kids being home all the time, right? So if the more you give them a scenario that they can connect themselves to emotionally, the more you will get that one person. And then what happens is you get a new client or a new inquiry, and then you do the same with them. But you need 12 to get the ball rolling. One of the cool things.
I have to say something.
Yes,
Interruption, because it's so
do
funny.
it. Yeah.
I'm cracking up so much. It's so funny. So Jim says, too much stimulation for me. So I'm going to be up all night working on these. Laugh out loud. I love it. Good for you, Jim.
Jim, I was
Okay.
just taking a sip of water when Joni was reading that. Thank goodness I didn't spit it out. I know. There's more, Jim. We're not even done, buddy. We're not even done.
I know.
Okay.
I know. Okay, there's more.
We're not
Hold
even
on.
done.
Creating a short and informative monthly blog is great for content someone's sharing.
Yep.
And then somebody says you mentioned a CRM tool that TPI has. Do you know what it's called?
Yeah, it's our own proprietary CRM. It's called Suitcase.
Okay.
And so
All right.
TPI actually bought a CRM.
Awesome.
And yeah, so feel free to send me an email and I can give you more information on that.
Cool.
So
Okay.
case studies, which going back to the blog, see, I didn't even think of, there was so much content you can create that's different than just a blog. I like to bring new ideas, but that's so true. So this next one that I was talking about, these case studies, you know, the case study, like share the story of somebody that you helped. It doesn't have to be a, like, I rescued them from Russia type story, but share the story. You know, hey, I was so excited to work with a family that was telling me about such and such and such. And after we had worked together, we realized I was able to get them the Royal Genie or something, something, something. Do a case study of some sort. Share the story of a family or the type of client that you want to work with, and how their vacation ended, right? Or how their vacation played out because of you. It's not about you, right? Part of this, and y'all have heard me talk about Don Miller, Building a Story Brand, which is a resource. Don Miller, Building a Story Brand, talks about how you are the guide, not the hero. You are the guide. So it's really about them and making them a hero. So watch his stuff and then use case studies in your emails. And then again, a strong call to action. And that will help people who are reading it, wherever they're reading it, connect with you. Encourage reviews. It's scary to ask for reviews. I'm not talking about referrals or full-on reviews. There's lots of different programs that are fairly inexpensive that can attach to your website. There's one that I'm going to, at the end, there's a resource that there's a link that has 100 different review apps that you can use. And there's one that's like a text that you send to a client. So, and then it shows up on your website or it shows up in the areas. So encourage reviews and then ask your clients to answer 3 questions. Like the question is, question number 1 could be something like, share with me what your expectation was of working with a travel advisor. Share with me how I met or did not meet that expectation for you. And then the third question could be something like, share with me how your how that vacation changed the way, share with me how that vacation affected you. If you ask people those 3 questions or questions like that, as opposed to saying, can I get a review? You walk them through the process that helps you be able to gain a review that's based on what they really felt and were impacted by. And I could do a whole webinar on how to ask for a review.
Okay, do it. Okay.
Okay, all right, that'll be our next one.
Okay.
But encourage reviews. Don't be afraid of reviews. Because one of the things that a small business owner really needs to understand is when you ask for a review and it comes back not glowing, that is your opportunity to pick up the phone, send an email, do whatever, and say, oh my goodness, I just read your review. I need to learn from this. Please share more. Ask and invite for more of that negative feedback so that you can learn from it, number 1. Number 2, you might find yourself saving that client and they take the review down and then come back and do something different. So don't ever be afraid of reviews. It's scary, but don't be afraid. Okay, I learned this a long time ago, Joni. If you don't ASK, you won't GET. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. So make sure that every single time you're talking to a client or even someone you've done a quote with and they decided not to do business with them, ask them, is there someone else that you know? Are you willing to keep me in mind for future opportunities? But if you don't ask for that review, if you don't ask if you can use the case study, if you don't ask and invite them into your world, they're not going to do it on their own. The chances are slim to none. We're all very busy. So if you don't ASK, and this is just for everything, you're not going to GET. And the number 1 thing that I find that advisors do not do, and I'm not talking about quotes, guys. This is not about quotes. You go to a party, you introduce yourself, you find somebody, they go, oh, that's intriguing that you own a travel agency. I didn't even know travel agencies still exist. But yes, they do because we're alive. I'm standing in front of you. I'm alive. Of course, we still exist. And somehow or another, you gain their information because you ASK'd and you GET'd, you got what you asked for. Follow up, not once, not twice, follow up. Be specific with your follow up. So often agency owners drop the ball right there. How many of you right now have, well, I don't even know if you do it anymore, desks filled with business cards or sign-up sheets from vendors, from shows that you've done? You have them in there, and how many did you follow up with? And one of the assumptions that I hear a lot of entrepreneurs, this is not unique to travel advisors and agency owners at all. Small business owners get overwhelmed. They do all this work to prep for a show or to prep for a meeting, a networking event, what have you. They get the information, they follow up once, and then they move on. And you don't know what's happening in that person's world to make the assumption they're not interested just because they didn't email you back. And sometimes what ends up happening is they're busy right then and there, and you don't know what it's for. Or they're not interested right then and there. You should still follow up later on. It is the number 1 thing that I see travel advisors and agency owners neglect to do when they're getting a new lead. And I'm not talking about quotes, guys. I'm talking about when you get a new lead or you meet somebody new.
Okay, I got something for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so somebody's just sharing. I thought this is very cool. Says that a client sent me a letter by mail saying what they loved and they didn't love about the tour, and they attached a $200 check as a tip for planning the mother-daughter trip. Well, that's cool. So they reviewed and gave you money. That's awesome.
Let's take it, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
take it. I
cool.
love it. Use
Congratulations,
that
Sheila.
200. I love it. Use some of that $200 to do Google My Business or SEO, or buy, reinvest that in your business so that you
Yeah.
can get more clients. I love that.
Yeah. Cool.
Congratulations.
Very cool.
All right. Anything else about this? A
No.
fierce fan base only starts with 12. Profitable partnerships. Now, I've got some really cool ideas in here. First off, start going to in-person events. They are happening. Please go back to in-person events. Cross promotion. I know we talk about this often in the advisor world and the travel industry, but a lot of people don't take action on it. Cross promoting one's businesses. There was an advisor that we have at TPI, and she was up in Cincinnati. She is up in Cincinnati, and she's right when all the stuff happened last year, she started to put together staycations. And what she did is she designed a staycation that was like $999, and it included 2 nights at a bed and breakfast. It wasn't $999, it was like $499. What am I saying? It was 2 nights at a bed and breakfast. It included the breakfast. It included flowers delivered by a local florist. It included bakery items. It included like a limo coming to pick them up and drive them to there. It included dinner for 2. I think it included something else. Anyway, she has like 9 or 10 things built into this $499 or $599 package. Well, you know what happened is every single one of those small businesses that she was getting the bakery goods from, that she was getting the flowers from, that she was doing the bed and breakfast from, she said, listen, I'm going to be promoting your business with this. I would love for you to be able to put my flyers or my cards in your business, or add me to your website, or let's write a blog together. Let's do this. And they did this great cross promotion. And then she got picked up by our local media, because the local media talked about how somebody was, a travel advisor was highlighting other businesses and how businesses were coming together. So, if you think about how tough it is for y'all, or how challenging it feels to you to promote your business, imagine what it's like for the bakery, for the hairdresser, for the nail tech, for whomever, the financial advisor. Everyone suffers from a little bit of not being able to market themselves outside of their immediate sphere of influence. So get creative with cross promotions. Networking again. I know many people probably had to look at their finances as business slowed down to practically a halt last year, but join that BNI. Find some profitable partnerships within that BNI group or a local networking group. This is one that a good friend of mine does, and she owns an association for photo managers, people who actually go in and manage your photos for you. Yes, people pay for people to manage their photos. And she works, they had to close it down, but they're opening it back up in a workspace sharing area. And she's around other entrepreneurs. And so they're constantly always referring business to one another. So she's got somebody there, right there, who is a graphic designer who doesn't want to work from home anymore. She's got a website person there. She's got I think a CPA there. She's got somebody who does copywriting. So they're all small business owners, service-oriented business owners, sharing a workspace. And because now they can leverage each other's sphere of influence. And then follow up. Once you make that, I would say, I don't know, follow up, especially from that networking and the in-person events and the cross promotion.
Well, and
All right.
I got a comment from Sandy on this. It's pretty funny, really. It's interesting. She says, whenever somebody calls on the phone trying to sell her something, she finds a way to drop that she owns a travel agency and tries to sell them a cruise at the same time. She says it's actually worked with a couple people. So go, Sandy. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And what's funny is we hear those types of stories all the time. People are like, I was standing in the Walmart line, waiting for them to open something,
Yeah.
And because I was wearing a logoed shirt, somebody noticed that I was in travel, which is coming up as one of the tips to build your database. So let's get back to basics. Now, I know a lot of this other stuff seems like basics, but how many of these things have you not done? I want everyone to ask themselves, or how many of these things have you done? I would venture to say a good portion are things you have not done. So pick 1 or 2. So back to basics, targeted direct mail. You can buy lists from the, you can buy lists from the post office. There's list purchasing programs out there that can be very, very targeted. You can say, I want 200 names that have a medium income of, that have, they call it cohorting, that have a husband and wife with a medium income of this, that are in a 400-mile radius. You can buy those. Try targeted direct mail. Advertising locally and very specific. It's a basic thing. Way before social media came around, everyone was advertising locally. Well, guess what? People are starting to do it again. Maybe even like in your neighborhood, like if your neighborhood has a newsletter, and it might be an online newsletter now, but do some advertising in there. Heck, go back to pitching the media, pitch your local neighborhood magazine. I know here in Florida, we have like, you know, Orange County, the Orange County Journal, which is a magazine. Pitch the editor on a feature about, you know, travel. Dialing for dollars, pick up the phone. That's the other thing. Oh my goodness, we were just talking about this at our TPI management meeting. And in it, we were talking about, we have relied too much on email communication. We need to just start picking up the phone and calling people. So get back to the basics. Instead of relying so much on text messages and email messages, create that relationship, because that also becomes a two-way conversation where you get a chance to go back and actually ask them for a review in an emotional way, or ask them one of those questions that I had said to you before with regards to, it would mean the world to me if you ever hear anybody saying something like this, or hey, I specialize in Disney and so many people get confused with Disney. If you ever hear anybody say they'd love to take their family to Walt Disney World or on a Disney cruise, it would mean the world to me if you were to think of me. And then follow up from there. So dialing for dollars. Logoed shirts. This is something that I think a lot of us have gotten away from. Wear a shirt that says you're a travel advisor, for heaven's sakes. You know, get it nice and embroidered shirt when you're out and about grocery shopping, or you know, going to the museum or what have you. Don't be afraid to wear something that says you are a travel agency owner. Don't be afraid of that. The other day, and also don't be afraid, this is terrible, but I was eavesdropping on someone's conversation. I was just in Charleston, and there was two couples sitting there drinking, and they were like, why are you here in Charleston? And they were just kind of finding out about one another, and I was just kind of listening. And one was saying, oh, we love to go on Carnival cruises, and the other one was saying, oh, we love to go on Cunard. I mean, you can't be any more different, right? One's on Carnival and one's on Cunard. So they were telling the differences. So I finally just butted in, because I'm just I just can do that, right? And I was like, oh my God, I love hearing this. I'm in the travel industry. Tell me, are you guys excited about getting back on the cruises? And they both, all four of them, turned and looked at me. They're like, yes, give us the update. What's happening? Here's the thing, guys. I was listening, I was paying attention, and I gave them all this information. And if I was an actual travel advisor, right? If I sold travel, hopefully I had some business cards on me. I would then start talking about, what's the next cruise you'd like to go on? Are you working with a travel advisor? Please tell me you have a travel agency that you work with. No, you don't. I would love to be able to work with you. I'm passionate about travel, passionate about cruises, just like you are. See, if you don't ASK, you don't GET. So ask yourself, are you missing some opportunities out there? And that's how you build that database, which is really the database of clients. Wear a logoed shirt, and you never know, especially because travel is so hot right now, you guys. People need to know and want to know the information. Advertise on your shirt. This is cool, this is a resource I'm getting ready to share with you. Put a link to your calendar in your email. And the reason I want you to do this, again, is it makes it easy for people to reach out to you. So if you're emailing, let's just say you're emailing Jane, and you're talking to her about potentially doing a trip, have that link in there. And if she says, yeah, I think my next door neighbor might be interested in something, you can say, you know what, I'm going to send you an email. Forward my email to your next door neighbor. In it is a link to my calendar, and they can schedule a 15-minute call with me. The shorter you make that sound, and the easy, that 1, 2, 3, you make that sound, and as easy as you make it for them to connect, versus going, have them text me or call me, and then you're back and forth, and then they get another phone call. Make it easy. Put that calendar link in your email. And then get involved locally for two reasons. One, it's so important to give back. We're so blessed to be in our fabulous industry. But there's actually a way for you to gain new clients, gain new referrals, gain new people in your database by getting involved locally with your local nonprofit, something that you're super passionate about. There is an advisor of ours, he's one of our platinum advisors here at TPI, and he and his husband love working with dogs, and they actually work with a organization called Southeastern Guide Dogs. And so they train these guide dogs, or they're like a foster parent for about 4 or 5 months, helping them get socially comfortable going to restaurants and hotels. And so Chip and his partner Chris they take their adorable yellow lab to a restaurant, or to they'll go to a bar like at a Ritz-Carlton, because he's allowed in there, and they just sit there, and then people come over and talk to the dog, and it's kind of like you're picking people up with the puppy dog, right? Like the guys used to do in the park. And invariably somebody says, what do you do? And Chip says he gets more clients and more referrals and more new friends, of course, too, from that. So he takes his love and his passion, and he loves and passion, but he leverages that, guys. There's opportunities everywhere. So
okay. Jen, I got a couple things for you. Do you want me to? Do you want, okay. Follow up, everybody, because that's the next point. Okay. All right. So here, someone's going to follow up with you. So somebody says they've set a goal for themselves. They're going to do at least 2 of your ideas, and then they're going to let you know in a week how they've done to keep themselves honest and on target.
I'm in love with you. Who are you? Who is this person?
Patricia Balmer.
Oh, Patty Balmer. Yes, girl. Do it.
All right. And then I've got a couple more comments.
Patty.
Jayla says, I have a travel questionnaire that asks for their favorite form of communication, and some say texting, and that may be, and I think that would be not an unusual thing to hear from a millennial, especially. So you do need to know your clients, because I mean, not everybody loves texting, but an awful lot of people would prefer that. So you just got to know. Good for her asking.
Yeah, and I actually, in our CRM, that's one of our fields, is preferred communication style. So here's what I would say to you. If they want to text, send them a video from time to time via text, instead of just sending them words. So leverage different things. Send them a link to your calendar. Like next time they want to talk to you, say, hey, click this link right here, because then they can go right into the account. You're making it easy. So you don't have to change your form of communication, just leverage that form of communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we got the questions.
And then follow up. Keep going. You got more questions?
No, I got. Okay. We're up.
I think what they're doing is they're writing. What are you going to ask, right? They're just writing. Yeah. All right, guys. So I will send all of these to you, but here are the resources that we talked about. Sign up for media leads. That's through helpareporter.com. Join ASTA so that you can get media leads from them. Join TPI. It's not TPI's, it's Jen Lee's Fiercely Forward Formula Facebook page. And if you choose the files tab, I have uploaded how to pitch the media and a couple of other files there. There is a blog that I recommend you read to learn more about Google My Business. Don Miller, Building a Story Brand. There's a YouTube video. It's about 45 minutes long. It's super good, and he does website reviews, and you can learn some things there. Collecting reviews. This Capterra has 100 different review software, review apps that you can look at. And then the calendar app that a lot of us use here internally as well is Calendly.
Awesome. Okay, I do have a couple questions, comments. Someone wants to share that they have a wrapped vehicle and that the driver looks like a lady sitting on the beach. I've seen those before. And you'd be surprised, she says, how many people run out to take the pictures, especially when her husband is driving the car. She said it's really crazy how many people say they see the car around town. So that's, that's awesome advertising. Definitely awesome.
Actually, let me build on that. See, all of these things I did, there's still more ideas, guys. So on that wrapped vehicle, make sure you have a QR code, and make sure that QR code then goes straight to your website, or you create a landing page. At TPI, we offer our advisors a free email marketing program called, we call it Monarch, but it's actually Miami. And you can create a landing page in there. So use QR codes, make it easy for people, because now we're used to QR codes because all the restaurants didn't want to hand us paper, so we have to use QR codes. So it's something that people are used to.
Totally
Good
true.
idea.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea. I love adding the code to that.
Yeah.
Someone asks, what is your opinion about joining the local chamber?
I love it as long as you do, hold on, this. Hold on, hold on, hold on. As long as you do that. Um, Partnerships, networking, make sure that you're asking those questions. Make them one of your 12. I'm all about the chamber membership. I'm all about that, guys. But you have to work it. You cannot expect people, and then ask the chamber if you get that 60 seconds. Like a lot of times in chamber meetings or something, you get to draw your name out of a hat and you can give a 60-second commercial. Don't do it as a commercial, give a travel tip, So use your opportunity to educate them.
Oh, I've got this idea that this person shared. Oh, Katie, this is so good. I love this. She says she
Okay.
had a call from the library, and then they said they've had daily calls from people coming in and asking about COVID and international travel and how to handle that. And she's now doing a free question and answer at the library. Wow.
Love that.
Brilliant. Just brilliant. Love
Love
it.
it.
Katie, that is so
Make
cool.
sure make sure, Katie, that somebody does a quick video of you, or you do a selfie video, like I'm so excited I'm here at the library, or hey, I'm so excited I'm going to be doing a Q&A session here at the library. Please join me on such and such a day. Then send that via email to your database that you currently have. Now, if you still want to be on social media, you can still use all these ideas, put it on social as well. But this is ideas outside of social media. Great idea. I love
Yeah,
it.
I
Katie,
love it.
make sure you get their information. Make it fun.
Yeah, you have to share with us next time, Katie, how that went. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
such a cool thing.
love it.
Somebody else says that they have a QR code with their logo and a dog on a beach on the back of their vehicle. Very,
Excellent. I
yeah,
love it.
that's
I
Dawn.
love it.
And then let's see. Somebody's asking, what are your thoughts about posting on military web pages or neighborhoods?
Um, I don't really have any specific thoughts. Why would it be a bad idea? I would think that
Yeah,
would be a good
if as
idea.
long as it's
Only,
allowed, right? I mean, I don't.
yeah, as
Yeah,
long as
can't
it's allowed.
hurt.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
would also remember, guys, it's not about you. If you're going to do stuff like that, do not make it about you. Make it about them. Share a tip. Make it about them. Ask a question, post a poll if it's on a website, if you're allowed to do that. If you're allowed to advertise on there, make sure that you're using verbiage that is emotionally going to connect them. In other words, use verbiage that helps them see that you get them. Everybody on this call, you have got to buy the book, Don Miller, Building a Story Brand. I do not make any money off of this. I've never met this fella. It is without a doubt the best book I have ever purchased and read when it comes to creating content and understanding marketing. And it's super easy to understand.
that's
Don
awesome.
Miller, Building a Story Brand.
Well, I think we're good. I don't see any. You have any last comments, and we'll do the questions when you're ready. I don't see any other last minute questions here.
No, I'm good.
Are
Oh
you
my
ready for
goodness,
the
guys, I
prize,
will send.
people?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So,
Are you, you're
folks,
gonna ask the questions, right?
I'm going to ask the questions. And then, folks, I'm
Good.
going to let you know that I will be taking I like to switch things up. And today I'm just feeling like switching it up to my lucky number 7. So I'm going to take the 7th correct answer. And what you want to do is you want to put that over in that same place where you've been putting your questions. You just head on over there and you want to type in the answer there. And then I will look through it, pick the 5th one or 7th one. And we have 2 questions. So you ready, folks? Ready, set, here we go. Okay. Question number 1. What is the one thing that Jen says most advisors do not do? Go.
Do, 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 do,
Okay, we have a winner.
do.
Whoa, you guys all got that. That was good.
I
That was
love
You guys have been
it.
listening. Eileen
Yeah.
Jameson.
Congrats,
Congratulations.
Eileen.
That's awesome. Okay, Eileen, we will be sending you the information on that. So we have your email, so we're all good. All right, next. Finish this sentence. If you don't ask, you won't.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do,
Oh my goodness.
do, do, do.
Somebody who's really participated with us today. So that's awesome. Patricia Bomber. She
Yay,
won. Patty
Patty!
won. Okay. So
I
each
love
of
it.
you are going to receive a invaluable 30-minute session with Jen Lay on a coaching session. And so we will be getting the emails to Jen, and she will be sure and reach out to you about that. So
I love it.
this was awesome, Jen. As always, they're always so ridiculously crazily good. I just love them. I always have so much fun doing your webinars. Such a fun
Thank you.
thing.
I
And
love doing
everybody, you guys have been great today. You've been so responsive, sending us questions and kind of helping us, get through this thing and be able to share with one another. It just makes it so much more fun. It just really does. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank Jen. Jen, can't wait to be with you next week when you do the one
it.
with Andy. That's going to be awesome.
Yay! Hmm.
And everybody, I really hope you had a great time today, and we really look forward to the next time that we get to talk to you all. So have
I
a great
love it, guys.
afternoon, everybody.
Take care, everyone.